Assalamualaikum.
जी वालेकुम अस्सलाम।
वेलकम टू अनदर इंस्टाग्राम लाइव सेशन। आई थिंक थर्ड टाइम हमने इतना तो सीख लिया कि हम एग्जैक्टली टाइम पे ये वाला सेशन भी स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं। वैसे आपने तो अपनी तरफ से एक्सपीरियंस किया ही होगा कि क्लासेस पे हम काफ़ी स्ट्रेस करते हैं कि वो एग्जैक्टली टाइम पे स्टार्ट हों, बट वही स्ट्रेस हमने आपकी तरफ से भी जो है ना एक्सपीरियंस किया है कि आप भी जो है ना एक मिनट भी लेट नहीं होने देते और हमें व्हाट्सएप मैसेज जो है ना आ जाता है कि मीटिंग स्टार्ट हो
Yeah,
गई एंड दैट्स समथिंग रियली गुड टू लाइक एक्सपीरियंस फ्रॉम द क्लाइंट साइड एज वेल।
certainly, I'm glad.
जी सो पहले मैं जरा व्यूअर्स को बता दूं हु आर लाइक स्टार्टिंग टू जॉइन इन के दिस इज अ पार्ट ऑफ आवर इंस्टाग्राम सीरीज वेयर वी टॉक ऑन सेवरल टॉपिक्स अराउंड एजुकेशन और वेब डेवलपमेंट, क्योंकि एक अप एंड कमिंग जो है ना टॉपिक है फॉर किड्स टू लर्न। तो वी थॉट कि व्हाई नॉट इनवाइट समबडी जो कि वेब डेवलपमेंट में जो है ना यू कुड से they have also contributed quite a lot. So Jaffer Haider साहब के मैं एक brief सा introduction देता चलूं कि we had our first interaction when Hadi, your son, joined our Scratch Level 1 course in the summer of 2023. Yes, this recent year.
बिल्कुल।
और उसके बाद से रजा ने भी, आपके छोटे बेटे ने भी जो है ना कोर्स लेना शुरू कर दिया, एंड हादी एंड बोथ ऑफ देम, उनके जो हमने प्रोजेक्ट प्रेजेंटेशंस देखी हैं, देव डन रियली वेल। And later we got to know a little bit more about you when you were at the Thought Behind Things podcast. Ke you had a computer science background and you've created this web application called Postermywall. एंड हमारी ऑन एंड ऑफ भी इसके ऊपर डिस्कशन होती रही है, नॉट जस्ट दिस प्लेटफॉर्म, बल्कि यू हैव आल्सो कंट्रीब्यूटेड अ लिटिल बिट इनटू द STEM एजुकेटर्स नॉन कमर्शियल वर्क एज वेल, सो आई एम आल्सो वेरी थैंकफुल फॉर दैट। दैट्स व्हाट आई absolutely love about our community of parents ke jo hai na, the one is ke there are clients and then there are also sort of volunteers in the community too. So I'm really glad to have you a part of it as a community member. So if you can maybe like also add a little bit into your introduction, tell us a little bit about Poster My Wall, and then maybe we can dive right into the topic के web development जो अभी currently हो रही है. We hear a lot of different words like Wix, card, Mobilise maybe, or जो है Squarespace, and then there is like React, Node.js. So there are a lot of words that are thrown around कि web development कैसे हो रही है. So would like to hear from you okay, what is happening in this ecosystem, and should we just like right away jump into these tools, या फिर is there another approach to learn these things?
Right, right. Nick, thank you for having me. It's great to be part of this community, and I'm looking forward to contributing. So Post from my wall की quick history यही है कि I started it in 2010 with a co-founder in the US. I was the first engineer on it. And I built it, myself for, the first 4 or 5 years. It is basically an online platform that makes design and marketing easy for small businesses. Web development की, जहाँ तक बात है, it's a very interesting field in, when you compare it to just programming, because it has so many different moving parts. अगर आप Scratch में काम कर रहे हो तो it's just Scratch. अगर आप Python की programming कर रहे हो, you only have to worry about Python. But web development is unique in the sense that there are, 3-4 core skills that you need to have, that you need to master to be really good at it. So, जो उसकी base, जो foundation है, that's on HTML, which helps you define the structure of your page. उसके ऊपर फिर CSS आ जाती है, which helps you, define the look and feel of your page, of your web app. उसके ऊपर फिर एक building block आ जाता है called JavaScript, which is a programming language, and it helps you add logic, to it. And then the fourth part is a server-side language that you need to, which can be Node.js, JavaScript, it can be PHP, it can be Python. So I feel before we, like discuss, the tools that you mentioned, एक student को ये core जो skills हैं ये master करनी, I think important है. Because only then can you really understand these higher level tools like WordPress and Squarespace and Wix, or फिर ही आप उनसे ज़्यादा फ़ायदा उनको ज़्यादा अच्छी तरह इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं।
Okay. So you're saying कि जो इसकी foundation है that is on HTML, CSS and JavaScript, and you would say कि ये पहले cover करना is one of the essentials.
Yeah, I mean, yes. From an engineering perspective and from an educator's perspective, ये core skills हैं, that you should have.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned that JavaScript is a programming language, but the same was not said for HTML and CSS.
Yes.
And me as an educator, I've had this conversation with a lot of parents and with a lot of students as well, because of their surroundings, they hear these words, but are not fully familiar with this. So if you could maybe give us a little bit more detail into this, what constitutes a programming language or what is not a programming language?
Yeah, so HTML जो है, it's not a programming language because उसमें कोई जो basic building blocks of a programming language होते हैं, variables, loops, conditionals, if-else blocks is like for loops, concept of functions and classes, वो नहीं है. HTML is basically a way to declare the structure of a web page. So उसमें कोई लॉजिक का कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं है, कुछ आप रिपीट नहीं कर सकते, कुछ आप कंडीशंस नहीं लगा सकते. और जो CSS है, it's a way to define, again, it's not a programming language, it's just a way to declare what the colors will be like, how will it look and feel. So again, like इसीलिए मैंने शुरू में कहा था web development is very interesting because it's a mix of programming skills and non-programming skills. इसीलिए tools like आजकल React.js बहुत popular है, and I feel that's a very core skill to have आजकल because it's इसकी demand बहुत ज़्यादा है, especially for companies and teams that solve challenging problems or create really interesting web applications. And React.js sort of makes उसका learning curve जरा ज़्यादा है. It's harder to learn, and to actually understand it, you need again these building blocks. But once you learn it, you can really आपकी output बहुत वो accelerate कर देता है as an engineer. You can build things faster and better. So React.js, like शुरू में आप tools का पूछ रहे थे, React.js is high up there.
So putting this in the context of kids education, Abhi, are your kids doing web development? What is the stage that you think would be suitable for Hadi or generally for any kids? कि आप क्या देखते हैं कौन से age group के ऊपर उनको इस चीज से introduce कराना would be more suitable?
Right. Yeah, so Hadi is 11. उसके स्कूल में actually web development हल्की फुल्की शुरू कर दिया. And I feel 11 onwards, 10 onwards is an appropriate age where you can start introducing these concepts to kids. But आजकल के बच्चे तो माशाल्लाह बड़े exceptional हैं. I would say even like younger kids can probably take it up. But 10 onwards I think is a reasonable age.
And would you start them with something like React or Node.js, or what would be the ideal learning trajectory like in your mind?
So in my mind, I think like fundamental like vanilla JS, किसी framework के बगैर, React के बगैर, ताकि वो language के syntax से familiar हो जाएं, जैसे Python उनको पढ़ाई जाती है. I think that would be a start. Or again, simple HTML, simple CSS. एक दफा वो थोड़ी सी core fundamentals उनको समझ आ जाएं, उसके बाद ही वो actually appreciate कर सकेंगे React.js को, या किसी CSS framework को, या किसी HTML वाली library.
Yeah. One might argue कि जो है ना ये जो platforms बने हुए हैं, these are there for our ease, कि हमारे लिए build करना obviously आसान हो जाए. But मेरी भी यही approach रही है कि अगर आप WordPress से भी या Wix से भी आप Shopify से भी आप start करते हो तो जब तक आपने ये core technologies के बारे में आपको know how नहीं है, if you don't know the fundamentals of programming, like what is एक array structure बना हुआ है, तो आप उसको modify नहीं कर सकोगे. आप the you will hit a roadblock. आप एक certain level of customization तक आप नहीं जा सकोगे.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, आई एग्री, बिकॉज आई सी इट इन द सेम वे एज के बच्चों को अभी भी फिजिक्स और केमिस्ट्री की बेसिक्स पढ़ाई जाती हैं, यू नो, फ्रॉम एलिमेंट्री स्कूल, यू नो, केमिकल रिएक्शंस एंड यू नो बेसिक चीजें पढ़ाई जाती हैं ताकि दे कैन अंडरस्टैंड द वर्ल्ड लाइफ. आई थिंक इट्स अ सिमिलर यू नो सिचुएशन है कि आप बिल्डिंग ब्लॉक्स और बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट्स थोड़े बहुत पता होने चाहिए.
Okay. So you, as being an entrepreneur, develop Postermywall. So usme, do you still get to code, or do you have like a team of employees? And what do you look in that team of web developers? What do they do for you? So what is required? What are the ingredients for that?
Yeah, as a founder who actually wrote the code, you know, themselves, मेरे लिए बहुत मुश्किल था to, you know, transition into a manager. So it took me many years, but yeah, sadly I don't write code anymore. अगर कोई मौका मिल जाए तो जरूर try करता हूँ. But as an employer, आजकल जो skills, you know, जिसके लिए हम test करते हैं, that we, you know, look out for, सबसे important होती है the ability to solve problems. So problem solving की skill, आपकी क्या approach होती है to, you know, to solve a problem. जब हम interview भी करते हैं या test भी लेते हैं, we aren't, you know, necessarily looking for the right answer, but you know, it's about how you approach a problem. उसके अलावा, you know, again, कई companies में philosophy होती है front end developer की और back end developer की. You know, a front-end developer will just know or specialize in HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and they will write, you know, the interface or the thing that the user interacts with. और जो back-end developer होगा, you know, typically वो एक programming language में database के साथ और इस तरह की चीजों पे काम करेंगे. At Postermywall हमारी philosophy यही है कि everyone should be a full-stack engineer, कि they should be able to build the UI and they should be able to, you know, do the back-end code. So yeah, so those are, you know, experiences and skills that we look for. कि आपको HTML आता है, आपको React.js आती है, आपको कोई server-side language आती है, and how quickly you can ramp up.
And is that how it is in the big tech as well, like big companies around the world? What is that what they look for in hiring a web developer as well, or maybe an engineer?
Yeah, I think it's similar. Again, I mean, मैं ऐसे नहीं कहूँगा कि like full stack engineers are higher in demand. Like front end engineers की भी बहुत demand है. ML engineers, machine learning engineers की बहुत demand है आजकल. So it's a good mix हर चीज की, you know, like basic जो programming skills है उनकी demand तो है. But so big tech में भी problem solving पे बहुत ज़्यादा emphasis होता है. They might actually ignore your, you know, experience of a certain programming language, but your ability to solve problems and break down complex things into simpler things is what they look for.
That's also why we think getting your hands dirty with JavaScript and writing some simple projects, like maybe creating your own portfolio or maybe a mini app. जिस तरह से if like in Postermywall you're creating a sort of a media, kids could take on maybe like a smaller version of that sort of a project और उसके ऊपर वो जो है ना अपनी learning start कर सकते हैं, and only then arriving at these technologies जो कि उनका काम basically आसान करें. But having that like at the back of your mind is sort of essential.
Exactly. Yep.
All right. So, in your learning, what was your trajectory like during your computer science undergrad at LUMS? Did you like learn these technologies over there in your undergrad, or was there something else that maybe pushed you towards creating a web app? And was there something that had like a significant impact in your journey?
So my first taste of जो programming था, that was when I was in grade 6. उस time पे, you know, I came across a toy that had a basic क्या कहते हैं programming language on it. The language was called Basic.
ओके।
और उसके साथ एक बुकलेट आई थी और उसके ऊपर उसका सिंटैक्स था। तो आई वाज सेल्फ टॉट एट दैट स्टेज, और उससे मुझे आइडिया हुआ था कि ओके दिस इज व्हाट आई वांटेड टू डू। करियर के साथ तो मैंने लिंक नहीं किया था एट दैट यंग एन एज, बट आई आई रियलाइज के दिस इज व्हाट वाज फन फॉर मी, एंड दिस इज व्हाट आई वांटेड टू डू। फिर आगे लेवल्स में कंप्यूटर साइंस लिया था, एंड देन एट लम्स द रियल क्या कहते हैं प्रोग्रामिंग रियली स्टार्टेड। और उस टाइम पे and at lambs, yes, I was able to experience web development, like networking programming, assembly language programming. So at हर तरह की programming आपको experience होती है at an undergrad as in
ओके।
stage, and that's actually you know a great opportunity because जितनी आपको जो freedom उस time पे मिलती है to explore different things, वो आपको like जॉब पे जाके नहीं मिलती, because उधर फिर like deadlines होती हैं and everything. But in a university you actually have the opportunity to try different technologies or pitch different projects to your instructors. So I think it's a great opportunity to learn as much as you can.
And is that where maybe you had like an introduction to something like WordPress and कहीं पे कोई ऐसा पार्ट था कि जहाँ पे no code platforms ज़्यादा maybe important feel होना शुरू हो रहे थे because they get the job done a little easier.
So जब मैं अंडरग्रेड में था, that was all a lot of years ago. उस टाइम पे no code platforms were not a thing. The best thing we had was WordPress, and it was very new.
Okay.
But yes. So in fact, so Figma is actually a very important tool that even as an engineer you should know of. Figma is basically used to design user interfaces or websites. But वो भी आहिस्ता आहिस्ता नो कोड की तरफ जा रहे हैं कि they have introduced dev mode recently, and हो सकता है down the road they might introduce tools that let you generate code, ताकि आप you focus on the design and then you can generate the code. फिर एक framer आजकल is a tool that's really popular, and that is focused on being a no code solution. I think especially for business students, these tools make a lot of sense where, if you have a business idea, you can try it out on your own without needing to rely on an engineer or a designer. I think that's a very powerful, mixture of, skill set, motivation, and these tools. So even as an engineer, I think आपको ये tools explore करने चाहिए because, you should use anything that helps you get the job done faster.
Even currently Gemini है और which was previously Bard जो कि Microsoft का जो है language model है, and ChatGPT है, आप उसको कह सकते हो कि मैंने जो है ना एक weather application बनानी है maybe on a website, तो maybe वो आपको उसका HTML CSS and JavaScript generate करके दे देगा, but you can't still fully rely on it. You can maybe get like bits and pieces out of it, and that's something जो कि I think हम सारे engineers पहले manually कर रहे थे, maybe on Stack Overflow or somewhere else, जो कि अब वो जो है ना language model हमारे लिए खुद generate करके दे देता है, but so still we can't fully rely on it. तो इस वजह से I still think कि जो है ना JavaScript and CSS जो है ना वो आपको खुद भी पता होनी चाहिए, developer tools में आपको देख लेना चाहिए कि how something is reacting on the web page.
जी बिल्कुल.
अच्छा,
In our company we actually like use paid version of an LLM model. ChatGPT का एक competitor है that's built into the IDE. And we encourage engineers to use it, and people are using it, but ऐसा ही experience है जैसे आप कह रहे हैं कि कभी-कभी it will like give a perfect code, but कभी-कभी आप you can't be sure कि ये ठीक है या नहीं है, and you will actually have to review it yourself. So yeah. It's not quite there yet, but it's still a big help.
So and you've been mentioning this thing कि as an engineer, like ये जो phrase है कि as an engineer, I feel like this phrase isn't quite so much associated with an engineer who builds something in the digital realm. rather than more in the physical world. अगर कोई कुछ create करता है तो उसको ज़्यादा engineer consider किया जाता है. तो digital realm के अंदर what sort of you could say maybe a web developer is a web developer an engineer first of all, and on the other hand if somebody starts to learn web development today, उनको क्या सीखना पड़ेगा कि they would be an engineer?
I yeah, that's a very good question. I think as a web developer and as software engineers, yeah, software developers in general, you can behave as a non-engineer and be casual. So engineer होने का मतलब क्या है कि engineer अगर कोई structural engineer है या architect या like someone who makes buildings and bridges, अगर if they were as casual as us web developers तो बहुत ज़्यादा bridges गिर रहे होते.
Okay. Okay.
They need to be very rigorous with their decisions. So soil testing होती है, सारी structural testing होती है, सारा कुछ होता है, and they can't make a mistake because एक दफा ink लग गई है तो it's very hard to make changes. But software is so malleable, it's so easy to change कि आपकी एक habit बन जाती है. अच्छा थोड़ा सा लिख के चलें try करते हैं, चल गया तो ठीक है. So I think जो एक reputation है कि हाँ engineers like build something, they have more discipline. It's a right thing. Not every web developer is usually engineer and doesn't usually need to behave like an engineer. But आप जैसे more complex problem solve करते हो या बड़े systems पे काम करते हो, so you need to learn to act more like an engineer. You need to bring more discipline to your craft. फिर companies भी help employees and engineers become better engineers by using automated tools, by using code reviews, practices like pair programming and code reviews or इस type की चीजें.
So is there like you could say difference in the respect of a person कि वो किस type का engineer है या फिर वो किस type का developer है, और maybe इसको अगर differently phrase किया जाए कि a difference in the pay scale maybe, कि अगर आज एक WordPress development कोई सीखना शुरू कर रहा है and they know a lot about that tool, but अगर उनके अंदर वो engineering skills नहीं है, does that reflect in their work, और क्या वो उसकी वजह से उनका pay scale पे affect आता है?
Pay scale पे effect हो सकता है. Again, it depends on company to company. For some companies, WordPress developer might be very valuable, and for some companies जो के ऐसी problem solve कर रहे हैं जो WordPress से नहीं solve हो सकती, उनके लिए core engineers ज़्यादा valuable होंगे. But in general, आजकल जो market जा रही है, that is going towards rewarding like problem solving and engineering skills and machine learning skills and app development skills. Yeah, at a better pay scale.
I obviously like do hear this कि machine learning की जो है ना बहुत ज़्यादा demand है. So but wouldn't you say कि उसके लिए एक different route भी लिया जा सकता है, something that is completely away from web development?
हाँ जी, बिल्कुल. Yeah, you're right. उसका जो entry का path है या जो education का plan है, that can be very different.
Right. So if somebody is starting out today, what are some of the projects that you could think कि वो बना सकते हैं, that would be a good starting point, जो हम बात कर रहे हैं कि at least उनको basics का ज़रूर पता होना चाहिए, and then they can arrive on these platforms. Do you have any like projects in mind, something that you probably made before Postermywall, or something that was like some inspiring websites that you maybe like look up to कि इस तरह का design होना चाहिए था, or this is what I hope to create?
Yeah, so in terms of ideas for projects for students, I think web development में इतनी variety है कि you can एक कोई project, well you can try different projects. एक you can try making a resume for yourself or a brochure website for yourself of all your school achievements, yes type की चीजें. वो आपको एक basic अच्छी खूबसूरत सी website बनाने की एक बड़ी अच्छी practice होगी. Then you can to really test out your programming skills in JavaScript, you can try replicating some other apps that you like. It could be a game, it could be as simple as a calculator. और उसके ऊपर फिर a good thing to try is to build a system that, that actually takes data from the user and does something to it and gives it back. इसके बहुत ज़्यादा examples होते हैं आमतौर पे cinema ticket system, restaurant menu ordering system, इस type के जो systems होते हैं. So those are usually really good ways that help the student really understand how the internet works actually. Because web development में again जैसे जब आप क्या कहते हैं Python में करते हो programming, it's a very simple conceptually. आपने code लिखा है और वो उधर ही computer पे ही चल रहा है. But web development is again unique in the sense कि कुछ code browser पे चल रहा है और कुछ code server पे चल रहा है. What is a server? What is a client? How do they communicate? So knowing all of that, a system level like, as a project would be a good way to learn that and understand that.
So something that has these two components, a client side की चीज और वहाँ पे HTML, CSS and JavaScript है, and a server side thing. तो I think मतलब these are some essential elements जो कि जरूर जो है ना involve होने चाहिए for somebody who is just starting out their journey. Because a huge portion of the digital world is built on websites. We use these websites, and on the other hand, we use mobile apps. Mobile apps के लिए maybe we can have like another piece of discussion, but websites के लिए okay, we've covered up a few of the topics के जो है ना कहाँ से start करना चाहिए. चलें, I think we've already covered up जो हमारे आज के decided topics थे. Hopefully जो है ना इससे parents को कुछ help हो सकती है in making the right choice for their kids. And if we have some more questions, so we'll definitely like bring it up in another Instagram live session, and we'd love to have you again for such a discussion.
I'd love to help out. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Take care.